Anakin Skywalker was born not just to be a Jedi, but a warrior, molded by conflict and forged in battle. Though gifted in the Force beyond measure, his chosen weapon was not mystical energy alone, it was his lightsaber, an extension of himself, his identity, and his relentless pursuit of mastery. From the earliest days as a Jedi, Anakin was held back in many respects, he believed. The Council, cautious of his emotional volatility, restricted his knowledge on the deeper mysteries of the Force. But there was one area that they could not contain him: lightsaber combat. Here, his talent was undeniable, and his drive unmatched. He was given access to holocrons containing the techniques of the Order's greatest duelists, and even some from the dark side, such as the ferocious form of Darth Maul. Anakin was captivated by Maul's lethal precision. He had witnessed Maul strike down Qui-Gon Jinn in the Force, the Jedi Master who had believed in him, only to fall to Obi-Wan's triumph. The battle left a profound mark on Anakin, fueling an obsession not just in defeating his enemies, but dominating them through sheer skill. He pushed his lightsaber abilities to the absolute limit, not merely out of duty, but because the blade was personal, a connection unlike any other. The crystal within Anakin's lightsaber was not just a tool to him, it was a rare bond, a symbol of his willpower and his individuality. Anakin had a deep connection to the kyber crystal at the heart of his weapon, as if it pulsed with his own energy, the craftsmanship of his very being, one of the few relationships in his life that felt pure, untethered by betrayal, judgment, or fear. And yet, it was not until the Clone Wars that Anakin's skill as a duelist was truly forged. On the battlefield, his lightsaber was more than a weapon. It became a symbol of hope, a beacon against chaos. But it was his duels against Dooku, the fallen Jedi turned Sith Lord, where Anakin was forced to evolve. Dooku was more than a Sith. He was a master of Form 2, Makashi, a dueling style refined to precision and elegance. Anakin watched him dismantle Jedi, not just raw power, but with technique, dissecting their forms bit by bit, exploiting their weaknesses, defeating Jedi using their own teachings. He had completely mastered the Jedi arts, and now it was a tool to teach them a truth, that they were lesser. It was Dooku more than any other who forced Anakin to ascend as a duelist. Dooku was relentless. He pushed Skywalker farther than any Jedi Master ever could. When the Jedi Council sought to restrain Anakin, Dooku challenged him. He made Anakin angry. He made Anakin focused. And when Skywalker finally defeated him on the invisible hand in front of the Chancellor, it was not through the Force, but through mastery of the blade, as Dooku had taught. This philosophy carried over into the persona of Vader. Vader was not a sorcerer like Sidious, he was a warlord. He was a conqueror. While the dark side amplified his powers, Vader's core identity remained rooted in combat, the physicality, the presence, the power of the blade. Though transformed, consumed by darkness, and scarred beyond recognition, his fighting style was not one of wild aggression. It was measured, controlled, a brutal reflection of the Jedi techniques that he had once perfected. Like Dooku before him, Vader chose to retain the forms that he had mastered as Anakin, particularly Form 5 Gem So, a form that emphasizes relentless offense and overwhelming power. It is a form built for dominance. But Darth Vader's philosophy was not driven purely by tradition. It was a strategic decision. The lightsaber was immediate. It was tactical. The Force was vast and unpredictable. The blade was precise, undeniable. Against Jedi opponents, especially those trained in the art of lightsaber combat, Vader knew that the lightsaber was the truest test of superiority and of their worthiness to fight him. And yet, there was something deeper, a scar that ran beyond his body, maybe within his very soul. The Force was personal for Anakin, too personal. It had been the Force that betrayed him, that showed him visions of Padme's death, the Force that whispered half-truths, promises of power that he could never grasp. But with the lightsaber never lied. It was a tool of certainty, and when he held it in his hand, he was in control. No visions, no prophecies, no counsel, only skill. Dooku and Vader were unique among the Sith. They rejected the most chaotic forms of the dark side. They did not embrace Form 7, the wild aggression of Juyo, and the dangerous emotional chaos and volatility that lie within. The Sith Order was defined by its chaos, raw aggression, the rejection of restraint. Vader and Dooku were different though. They were weapons of control forged in tradition, yet sharpened for dominance. At the heart of their philosophy was a profound truth. Power without control is nothing but destruction. The Sith for centuries had embraced the wild ferocity of Form 7 Juyo, a style meant to overwhelm with pure aggression. It was the form of primal rage, of unchained brutality. But to Dooku and Vader, such chaos was deemed inefficient, unsustainable. True power was not measured in uncontrolled bursts of rage, but in the ability to dominate a fight with precision. Dooku was once a Jedi, a master of Form 2. He understood that fact better than anyone. Makashi was the duelist's art, emphasizing economy of motion, elegance, and surgical precision. It was created for one purpose: to defeat another lightsaber wielder. Dooku believed that power should be delivered with grace, not reckless force. To him, there was no honor in aggression, only the mastery of control. A mindset that aligned perfectly with his aristocratic demeanor. His disdain for the Jedi Order's decline into politics and stagnation. Even after abandoning the Jedi, Dooku's choice to preserve his classical lightsaber form was not just a matter of skill, but a statement of his superiority. Where the Sith relied on overwhelming violence, Dooku sought to prove that a master's discipline could break any enemy. He didn't need the chaos of the dark side to win. His blade alone would dissect an opponent, expose their weakness, end them with a single blow. Vader, forged with a different crucible, shared a similar belief in control, but his was born of pain, betrayal, and loss. Anakin Skywalker had once been a Jedi Guardian, the embodiment of physical mastery of lightsaber skill, but when he fell, his body was broken. His body lay there decaying on the bank of Mustafar, as Vader emerged not just physically reforged, but philosophically transformed as well. The raw emotions of the dark side amplified him, but it was structure of the Jedi Order's lightsaber training that he had perfected, this control that he had refined. This is what gave him true dominance when he sought his revenge. Vader, just as Dooku did, rejected Seven, not out of fear of losing control, but because they had already been broken. Emotion had already consumed Vader. Now the lightsaber was his anchor, his tool of certainty in a world where everything else had failed him. Vader chose to rely on Gem So, a style that prioritized relentless offense, deflecting attacks and countering with overpowering strength. It mirrored his nature as a Dark Lord, heavy, deliberate, unstoppable. Yet beneath the overwhelming power, there was still control. Vader did not strike wildly. Every moment was calculated, purposeful, designed to dominate his opponent physically and mentally. The deeper truth to both of them was this: Dooku and Vader saw power not as chaos, but as order. Order that must be imposed by strength. Dooku is what the refined strength of a master swordsman looks like, a scholar of the blade, a man who believed that skill transcended any violence. For Vader, it was the crushing power of a force of nature, forged by pain, bound by discipline. He sought to bring order to the chaos. They were rare Sith. Others, like Maul and Sidious, leaned into the unpredictable aggression or manipulation, where Dooku and Vader embodied a paradox together. They wielded darkness not through chaos, but through mastery. By retaining their Jedi forms, they did not reject their past entirely, but they attempted to redefine it. They twisted their Jedi philosophy of defense and control into a philosophy of dominance and oppression. The same techniques meant to preserve peace had become weapons of authority, repurposed not to protect, but now to conquer. And in doing that, they demonstrated the ultimate truth of their strength. The lightsaber was not just a weapon, it was a reflection of their identity, of their belief. To Dooku and Vader, true power was not in losing oneself to rage, but in mastering it, shaping it, focusing upon it, and then unleashing it with terrifying precision. They were no mere Sith. They were masters of control, and in that control is where they found their power. Thank you so much, my friends, for opening the Sith Holocron, all about the Sith dueling arts and the unique wielders of the dark side in Lord Tyrannus and Vader. If you seek more knowledge of these Sith, our archives are open, and as always, may the Force be with you.